Hi there, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 26 of Nerf News from the Meteor Ranch. I am your host, Chris Cartaya, drink and smoke, and we have ourselves a little demonstration of the woozy here from Ministry of Foam. Do you remember I covered Ministry of Foam a while back, just when they were starting their channel, and they had this big, and look at this, he's got a couple of woozies, okay, which is the Uzis that Collinwood makes. Little Talon mags, and he shoots them in slow-mo. Look at this rate of fire. Just brip, brip. Oh, man, it's like Miami Vice. Look at, oh, man, that's gotta be. Oh, best part of waking up right there. Blasting your friend with a couple of woozies. So, today, we got a lot of news, not just Dart Zone Pro news, which there is a lot of news. Drat covered it on his Twitch channel. So I got some more out of that than just the observations and the things I had researched originally. And we have more details on other things. We got a new dual flywheel cage for the Strife, maybe some HPA news, and lots and lots of other stuff. So stay tuned. To be honest with you, Lord Drek has done an extremely great job, showing us the Dart Zone Pro, taking it apart on Twitch, doing the video. Now, when the Twitch stream was happening, I was in the middle of editing episode 25. As a matter of fact, I was just beginning to edit episode 25. So I didn't have any notes from there. And so what I did after Owl Ranch was done and after I had uploaded it, and it took till 4 in the morning to upload, of course, because my files are like 5 gigabytes. It takes a lot of time to work with those files. I went on his Twitch and I saw a lot of other interesting observations. For one, I like the fact that it's caged and it's got the big spring and it's in its own cage. It's the tube is in its own cage and everything. It appears to have a longer draw, slightly longer draw than a Ret, and I think that's how they're pulling off the kind of pusher breech with the O-ring and being able to load full length is because it has a little bit longer of a travel to it. That's my theory. That's what I think. Which I think is cool because even though a Ret goes back maybe... Here, let's pull out a prophecy for a second. Let's pull out the prophecy. Take a look-see. Even though a Ret goes back about 80 millimeters. You see all this room right here? Yeah, you see that, right? Yeah, so the thing is that the draw appears to be longer, but also that it just, yeah. So what the problem is with any pusher breech is that your breech is going to be, your pusher is going to be far ahead. Now, you can try to put the breech inside like what was done with the Omni breech, which of course looks terrible and works terrible because it doesn't have an O-ring. So instead of the pusher, you have this part here and here. Well, I think what Dart Zone did is they decided to go just slightly longer, just a little longer on the on the travel. And why not? I mean, look at this. You see how far back this goes? Yeah. But it's basically the same kind of geometry as a Ret, only I think they took some creative liberties, such as give it a longer draw so it can go full length easier. And I think that, the priming bars are aluminum, which is nice. The barrel's aluminum, which is nice. Also rubberized. The grips are rubberized. That is a big thing, because right here, they're plastic. And although texture plastic works, it is nice to have rubberized grips on a Nerf blaster, I gotta say. Because they do slip out of your hand, especially in really hot weather. Really hot weather. But he was also able to get 170 feet per second out of the blast. And you can see the ribs on there where the katanas go, yeah, where the adapters. I'm sure you can file that off if you wanted to. But he got the very first Dart Zone Pro, and he did not skimp on showing us, wow, look how thick those priming rods are. That is really cool. Like, look how thin these are, and look how thick these are. So, what I see about the Dart Zone Pro is everything you ever wanted in a Ret that we just never had. That little bit extra travel so we can go pusher breech and full length. A little bit more flexibility, more power possibility. Do I think this can do 200? Oh, yes. Do I think it could do 230? Oh, yes. Also, it had a metal trigger catch but arch. Well, okay, beware of that one. Let me tell you why. Because when I first developed the R-Spec back in 2012, 2013, I tried an arch trigger catch, and I was using an Explorer plunger, and the problem is that plunger kind of yaws this way or that way, you know? And every time it releases, it can release this way, it can release that way. As where, like a long shot, you can do that because your plunger, your plunger rod catch is always in the same place. With a red, not so. So maybe they saw that, maybe they're not. I'm kind of cautious of that little bit of arch geometry to it. You can see how it has the ribs, like I said, yeah. How much is that going to affect you versus normal ammo? Don't know. It all depends on the barrel. It's not like we can't rebarrel it or anything. But he did put an AR-15 stock on there, an M4 stock on there. But he did get it stuck trying to get it off. So it's compatible, but I would still be careful when I were to go to like airsoft stocks or even firearm stocks, real steel stocks. I would be very careful. I do just like how this whole thing is shaped. And it's like they took the prophecy and they took it one step further. Now, the bad news. What do you think the bad news is? The Dart Zone Pro is not $50 like they told everybody at one point. The first version, two problems. One, the first version is $179. And I guess if you really don't have anything modded stock, not to mention I have tons of stuff modded stock, so the interest is not really there for me to buy one of these. You know, $179. If one were to show up because some happy viewer happened to just give me one because he wants me to review it and find the best ways to mod it, sure, I'll do that. I do that with everything I get, you know. But it's just not, you know, number two, it's pre-order. Now, I think they'll probably handle the pre-orders a lot better than Jet or everybody else. And here we got a working, functioning blaster. It's here. Here it is, right here. Boom. But Drac was the only one who's reviewed it so far. And he does great reviews, but it's just still really scarce, okay? How many running nodes do they have at the moment? I don't know. And it probably is like what Jet Blasters does, where they have like 2 or 3, but then, you know, not that many. Another thing is, I've been more into downsizing my secondaries. Why? Why do I do that? Because let's say you're rolling with Big Blow. Let's say you're rolling with a Bird of Prey. Let's say you're rolling with a Chronomag. Okay? I'm using one of those as a prophecy. Or maybe I'm using something rapid fire, like a Strife or something like that. Or a Rapid Strike, or maybe maybe a Dominator, maybe a Worker Dominator. Me with a Worker Dominator. I know, laugh, right? But I'm talking in general here, okay? I'd rather have something that does 150, 170 feet per second. I'd rather have something like this. Small, compact, fits on my holster. I can quick draw it real quick. It's very accurate. The Mauser Fire's got cred. I won Ragnar October with a Mauser Fire and 2 Chronos Blasters. No shit. I did an everything versus Cartaya round, and I won with a Mauser Fire. No shit. Okay, I have had like 3 or 4 people with flywheel blasters come at me, and I'm just bam, bam, bam. That does appear to be a silicone pad there, much like they do with the Prophecy. Also, the plunger rod looks very much like the Prophecy. Okay, so you see how this is pusher? I think what they did is they made it so it has a little more travel, so you can fit a full-length dart in there. That's what I think they did. And I will say, yeah, Rhett needs that. It really did need that. That just a little bit longer travel to it. You can use the same, but it looks like almost an identical copy to the Worker one. Almost identical. I mean, really. And that spring looks a lot like a number 62 helmet spring. It does. And even if it's not, I mean, we could put a number 62 helmet in there. I think this is very upgradable. It's just that there were a lot of pieces, and they snap in. You see these snaps instead of screws? Yeah. So that's going to be tricky. You're going to see a lot of that with the Alpha, Nerf Alpha stuff too. I would just be careful with, you know, it looks like the plunger rod's still just ABS. Maybe it's polycarb, who knows. But it is good to see Dart Zone, known company, actually make aftermarket stuff. Instead of just having to deal with Explorer or Jet or whoever, you know. Orange Modworks has been fair, have been good. Artifact has made good stuff, but they're off and on available. To have something like this going, but what we really need now is a flywheel. I'll be honest, what we need now is a flywheel. The other thing that gets me is why a Retaliator type blaster at all for our first blaster. Now, I can see they have done a lot of thought in taking the modded XPT Red and improving it. And taking what works in the Prophecy, the CETA, and everything else, and what doesn't, and then improving on that. I can see that. But between the CETA, the Prophecy, XPT's been out forever. The Ret's been out forever. Why a Ret? I would think the market would be a little saturated, don't you? Although I do think it was a better move to start out with a Ret rather than what Jet did, start out with a long shot. I think it was a better move because more general people would want it. But I would have gone, I dare say it, flywheel. Or I would have gone maybe a more compact kind of blaster like this. Or maybe like a Woozy, like what Colin Wood made, you know. Which there's some news about that too. He's doing some updates on his design. I would have come up with something a little bit more generic. What's so cool about the Kronos? You know, the Kronos. It's such a good general pistol. And it's got a large plunger tube, lots of firepower. He's getting some very decent numbers here with this, but I really think that maybe the market is a little saturated. We may see those 1,000 get sold, and that's the other thing. I'm waiting to see how many of those thousands get sold. How long does it take to sell those 1,000 units? Does it take a month? Does it take 3 months? I mean, that will tell you right there if it's a little saturated, because I already feel it right now. I've got a Prophecy. I've got the Prophecy's predecessor, which is Red October. I've got a Mauser Fire. I'm pretty much covered in the red area, yeah. Why would I want another red? I mean, me, myself, personally. I even have like 3 long shots, and I only use like 1 or 2 of them. You see what I'm saying? For somebody like me, I don't really see the point. For somebody who has never even gone into modded stock, period, I do. And I think a Ret's a good idea in that realm, but it is a little bit of a saturated market. So we'll see. We'll see. That's my only real big concern with this, is that this is saturated. I do like the fact they underclaimed. Yeah, instead of saying it's 170 feet per second, they say 150, so that when we get it, and we see 160, 170 feet per second, we're happy, you know. And that's about doable for modded stock. That's about where we want it for modded stock. That's cool. But still $179. I was kind of hoping that this would be like available in Walmart and $50. But you can't get everything. I get that. And if it really does cost what it costs, it costs what it costs. And I am, on the other side of it, surprised to see that it's XPT. I'm surprised to see that those rods are so thick. And I'm surprised to see that it has a metal barrel and it does so well. Drac didn't get paid anything to do this. Didn't get paid anything for this review. He did what I would do. Well, I got the blaster and I would review it, take it apart on live stream and show everybody. Which I thought was very nice of Drac. And Drac, if you ever need any help modding this thing, you want to get this thing up there, I'm willing to do a project for you and mod this and maybe get it to go like 250 or something. Ooh, yeah. So, Drac, you know where to call the right people. We can work on it together if you want. Just offering my services here. But I really thank you for doing this review and really being honest about this. Really, I think that this looks like a good blaster. And I do like the rubberized parts. That's sweet. Rubberized butt and rubberized grip. I just think that's sweet. I don't think that's rubberized. I don't think the front's rubberized. A lot of questions on this, but he did a good job answering them. So this week we got Liam Davis. This is using the Spec V3 tank on it. It is a bolt action, but remember the one he had for the cores that he builds. It didn't have the rails on it. This one's got rails on the bottom, on the top. It's got the hollowed out AR-15 kind of look to it. It's red, which I know Liam loves red. Okay, but what I like about it, and I'm really thinking, Liam, you should make a semi-auto version of this. Why? Because I liked the ADHD. I liked the design, but I was honestly saying, you know, I'd rather have this, you know, stock and grip like up here. And I'd rather have pick and air rails. That was my first thing, was pick and air rails. It really needs pick and air rails. you know. And this has the pictionary rails, but it's bolt action, which is cool. But let's face it, so you get a sober core, or you get a super core, or you get a sniper core, boom, 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 no problem with HPA, no problem. Man, look at how nice of work that Liam Davis does, and how much he has really been an engineer in his field, and really moved HPA up. He's also worked on long shots and stuff too, so he's no nobody that I like people that can multi skill. Let's say like Corey Rivet, who fixed up my pigeon recently, which was really cool. He posted a video on that. Go check that out. That's also on Death by Nerf Blaster. He can also work on long shots, and he can work on caliburns, and he can work on chronomags. As a matter of fact, this is his chronomag right here. This is his chronomag. I helped him with the pusher on it. See how it's all stainless steel on that. But he's using a My Venom mag release, and he did the barrel and all that himself. So I got this because he had a trouble with his trigger. It kind of warped because it was one of those cast ones. So I just said, here, give this to me. I can probably fine-tune your trigger assembly and all that. But yeah, here's one of his blasters. So I offered to fix up his blaster for fixing up my blasters. I love people who are kind of all-arounders. And Liam is actually an all-rounder. And maybe he specializes in HPZ, and HPA. But he does a lot of great stuff. He really does. And I just think that this is just awesome. And then there was another development too. It was, I believe, Nordia put up a very, very interesting. But here, check this out. So on Instagram, Bull Pump Design, right here. That yeah, Nordia posted up. Look at this. It's really cool. So it's got the tank in the front, and it's using, I believe it's supposed to use the super and sniper cores, if I am not mistaken. It's HPA. It's a bull pump design. It's got the rails on the top and the bottom. I like the rails. I like the rails. Because if I'm going to get something like this, I want optics. I want to be able to use and put my hand mounts wherever I want to put them. You know, I'm not limited to that shotgun grip, and I want a firm place to attach that. So to me, that's important, okay? If I'm going to invest in HPA, that's important. I think, you know, he should do kind of like an HPA-B or like an ADHD-B that has the tank on the back and the rails. That's what I think Liam should do. Like, it's just another variant, you know? I think that would be really awesome. But I was answered on it in here. Let's take a look. And then check this out. Check this out. I saw this too. So this is the internals of one of the cores that they're working on right here. This is the sniper core. Look how intricate and complicated that is. You have multi-shot capability, and with one pump, it primes, fires, everything. I mean, it's just so cool. Just all this work that they're doing in making this. So it will prime, release, fire, and then go back. And I think that that's a really, really, really cool. And it is replacing the sober core. So this is replacing the sober core, the new sniper core. I think that this is a really, really, really cool. I mean, imagine making all these parts and these seals and everything. Oh, it's just so rad. So that's also in the news today. But this is made for, yeah, made for the sniper core and the super core. Super core being closed and then opens, and the sniper core starts open and then close. So when you fire it, it's open, close. When you fire super, it's close, then open. And they had to help me with a lot of that. And I asked for the help. And I thank you, Mordia. And I thank you, Liam Davis. I'm not as HPA guy per se, but I do really enjoy your work. It's really cool stuff. So you guys saw those blasters that were displayed earlier. Where the guy just got freaking by two Uzis. Or two Woozies, we should say. Nerf Woozies. Because the man who makes this is Colin Wood. And here in MHP Support and Rehab Group, he is working on some version 2, version based off the feedback he's gotten so far on it. Personally, I like to have semi-auto, but fast semi-auto like the Pigeon has. But I wouldn't mind having one of these or two. No. Especially how small they are and the fact that they have multiple cages in there. You got 2 sets of cages in there. Really nice. So this V2 will be a few months away. But if you have any suggestions for Collinwood, go ahead and hit them up with it. It is a rapid strike yoke, but it's a different kind of rapid strike yoke. It uses a much more simpler format that much more easily moves, and it doesn't have the same kind of cycling problems that the rapid strike yoke actually has, the one from Hasbro. And it's a lot tougher and a lot more durable, much more hobby grade kind of thing. So if you really have some input, let Collinwood know. I might be holding out for version 2. I know that Pigeon version 1 without that rev trigger was good, but the rev trigger, oh god, I love that thing. It was really cool. I don't know if I'd buck up to version 8, but 2 was really, I still have it. I still love it. I have that in a Mauser fire. I can wipe everybody out. Just everybody. So I can imagine having one of these and just freaking spraying down Babalolo. Oh, look out, Babalolo. I get one of these, I am spraying you down at Ragnar. I'm going to do it. Woo! Okay. So, the dual stage hurricane cage by Atchison on Thingiverse is available. And what I like about it is it uses the worker cages. Okay. It uses the worker wheels. And you can actually put this in a strife. This is a really big thing to me because I don't want to get a Swordfish or a Dominator to run dual cage and get up to like 175 Steffens and 200 full length, which is pretty good. This is probably what I would run with. I am thinking about going single stage and worker and flywheel for BTA. Maybe if I can run 2 guns. I have actually a couple Rapid Reds and I have a couple of Strifes. And of course I want to run 2 gun if I run anything. If not, I'll just use Mauser and Pigeon if I can't afford it, no problem. But if I wanted to go 200 and I didn't have that 150 limit, there it is. And here it is also, here it is also in the Swordfish. It also fits in there. So it fits anywhere where a normal Strife cage would fit. But it gives you 2 wheels without having to upgrade the shell. But if you did, even if you did upgrade the shell, I mean, that's absolutely gash. I mean, absolutely awesome, you know. So this gives a lot of options to do that. Also, what I like is that MOSFET, that Out of Dart sells a MOSFET that actually goes between 2 poles, and it plugs in with an RT60. I think that's a cool idea. I'm just getting into flywheel because, not that I haven't been into it at all, but I obviously don't use it. So now I'm going to get, you know, maybe a flywheel setup and get going. But you can see that these are transistor MOSFETs with the heat sinks on them. And they wire in. I kind of like that better. You want to know why? Because the wires, and also don't wire them that tight. Give them a little bit loose because they are going to vibrate a little. It does make it so that the wires don't move. Your contacting points don't move. And I have seen people wire these so tightly that your posts actually break. It happens. You know, it happens. But this is kind of an interesting wiring job here. 2 MOSFETs going into 2 power sources into 2 cages. Yeah, but those are MOSFETs. MOSFETs is basically a high-grade transistor. And that one in the middle, is basically it turns on and then it lets the switch between this positive and this negative go through. That's how any transistor works. I think it's a really good move because then you don't have to wire switches for like 15 amps or something. They can just be some nominal voltage, whatever that trigger voltage and amperage is. It can be a half an amp, it can be a quarter of an amp, it can be tenth of an amp. It can be nothing, you know? So I like this. I like this idea. It's really cool. And I'm hoping to see more of this in the future and more flywheel stuff. Don't drown me with knowledge in message here. But if you have some suggestions on going 2-gun, single stage flywheel, 3S LiPo, give me a ring, shall we? My friend Skylar already gave me a pretty good configuration, but give me a ring. I would appreciate it. I'm trying to keep each Strife under $80 if I can. But I would love your advice. So fire it up if you have any. So this is from a Hong Kong doctor who got a couple of Perseus. And I gotta say, I'm impressed. So I guess they're out in Hong Kong or you can get them. I like the rechargeable battery. That's really cool. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Look at that. That looks really cool. Wow, it's just absolutely incredible, amazing. And of course, he's got the same philosophy as I do. Dual freaking wield these suckers. They are a little big. They're bigger than I thought they would be. He might be a little bit of a smaller person, but yeah. But you can see the detail of this. You know, you can see the muzzle here, and the cage is there. And you can see that it's a battery pack, which, of course, if you were to upgrade, it might be tough to lipo, because you'd have to do something with that and then run a lipo somewhere else. And I guess you could 3D print something like that. It is full auto. It is very heavy full auto. So, honestly, to modify 2 of these and use them for BTA with full auto, if I only have 30 balls in the cage, in the hopper, that might go pretty quick. I mean, this thing's shooting like 8 rounds a second. And if I were to go 60 total, yeah, that might be a little much. But I like the sling point on it up here. I like the rail. There's a little accessory rail down there. That's really cool. Again, probably for a front grip or what have you. But I can't wait till this comes out. This is probably the next one I'm going to get. Do I see any place to space reduce this? No, I really think that this is like it's like a Nemesis, but it's as space reduced as you can get. Only thing is, I'm going to remove this back post. When that goes up here, yeah, I'm going to remove that. Because, like, on like the Helios, it just gets in my way. It gets in the way of my arm. And that's what I don't like about it. But it looks just absolutely fantastic. The best part of it, and he does go through and discuss it for a long, long time. You know, he does. But my best part of it, oh, and you can see this belt cage here and everything. Yeah, it's the same kind of cage as a Prometheus, he says. The same kind of feed system as Prometheus, you know. So his name is Dr. Joseph. And Dr. Joseph did a really good job presenting this. Even though he's a different language and everything, I still really found this very enlightening. But you can see it's just a hopper. It just goes straight in the belt. Just goes straight into the wheels. And that's a very simplified construction, you know. I know it's going to be like $100 each or $80 each or whatever, but really, I can't wait. I can't wait to get that. And the hopper does come out. You can see it right there. Yeah. Wow. That's going to be interesting. This is going to be probably one of the best offerings Hasbro has this year. Other than maybe the reissue Stampy and maybe the reissue Mag Strike, which Gavin actually messaged me, and he said he's gone back like 4 times to Toys R Us, and he's still just having problems with them. Although I've seen other people with the Icon Series Mag Strike, and they shoot full auto. But for some reason, the ones he has is not shooting full auto, and you know he doesn't understand why. He's been to the store, back to the store many times with it. He just doesn't understand. I don't either. Okay,
Good
so
heavens,
there was this video from Justin Joel.
Like a Kronos.
Dude, he's funny. You know, I haven't really watched a lot of his videos, you know, and I heard he has quite a zany personality, Justin Joel. But dude, he is a funny guy. I gotta meet you one day, dude. You're really, really hilarious. But he did X-Shot Meteor. He did a review on it, and he found that it's speed loading and it's 8 rounds. But me describing it is nothing like watching this video, because he really is funny. He's a funny guy, you know. This jumping around kind of style of film, and it works. It actually works. Does Hasbro have a serious competitor here? Yeah, I think so. Loading from the bottom, when open or close, is a big thing. But also a big thing is it does have a little bit of a larger plunger tube to it. I think they got around making this without any legal problems or anything like that. So I don't really see any legality issues here. And they also hold 8 rounds. 8. And they come with 12, which is really nice. But as he pointed out, it's taken a long time to double your rounds, other than maybe your Fortnite blasters and the Alpha blasters, of course. And we're not picking on the use only, you know, Nerf darts. No, X-Shot's just happy to have your business with blasters. I think that's really cool too. But the most important thing about this video, and I really think that you should just watch this, is he's really funny.
Whether it's primed or not, you can load it.
The Kronos is a phenomenal blaster, however...
It is a phenomenal blaster. But he's got a good personality, a life. You're never bored watching this video. Very, very nice. Always wakes you up. Are you asleep at night? You want to wake up a little bit more? Watch this dude's videos. Really cool.
Someone noticed this.
Yeah.
We were talking about what that could possibly be.
And that could possibly be a magazine holder, like you said.
And we decided that this must
and
mean that
what I saw with the Meteor was it does look pretty nice. I've seen like the inside of the tube and it looks pretty big. I might be making a better price variant if it's a good tube, mind you. And I'll have to, when I get one of these, I'm going to take one of these apart and I'm going to have a live stream on it. Yeah. Oh, a couple of other unfortunate things. One, because of the $179 that the Dart Zone Pro is, I'm not going to be able to front for it, no. I wanted to be able to buy some and distribute them to my friends in Singapore, Hong Kong, and wherever you can't get them. Australia. I have a lot of friends in Australia, but I can't afford it. I really said that promise that I was going to front for them, and you can pay me and I'll ship them, and I'll only charge the cost of shipping, given that it was going to be a $50 blaster, and that's originally what we were told. Well, now it's $179, and unfortunately, I can't handle that kind of money for 3 or 4 of them. I'm not even going to buy myself a Dart Zone Pro, probably. And I say, if anybody wants to see me mod one, like, Drac can talk to me and say, hey, Chris, mod this for me. Like, kind of like what we did with the X-Mondo, with the X-Fang that he had, the Explorer X-Mondo, yeah. Or somebody can donate me one, and I can mod it and show some mods to it, and I can do some videos on that, sure. But, unfortunately, yeah, it looks like I'm out on this one, and I'm not going to be able to help anybody ship them. Sorry about that. It's just the way it is. But, anyway, back to the news, shall we? I mean, I think that this is a big thing. There's another one that they have, which costs $10, where you open it from the top and you load it. That's another big blaster. And, of course, we've seen the Adventure Force. These really give you a run for the money. Has a nice tube on them and everything. And it's really, really cool. You know, speaking of this titanium, I don't forget who gave me this titanium. That was Dwayne Hoy over at NorCal Nerf Club. And he got his hands on a Jupiter. And he was taking it apart. And while he was taking it apart, he showed me some pictures, some really nice pictures, and describing it to me online. And I really thank you, Dwayne. He told me that these bars are plastic, but they're thick plastic. You know, this whole prime mechanism back here. So basically, your bar hooks here, hooks here, hooks here. It's just, can I be honest with you about the Jupiter? It's just, the priming mechanism on it is just a little bit too Rube Goldberg for me, where it's just like, this is tied into this, it's tied into this, it's tied into that, where, I mean, seriously, on a Kronos, and I'm not kidding, on a Kronos, it's direct freaking prime, man. I don't gotta worry about any of these linkages, because this is direct prime. I mean, really, you know? So, it's kind of like, a lot of people are getting these now, and they're wondering how to mod these, and I've seen it. People talk about them. I think, honestly, because of other things I've seen, it might be a good intermediate range rifle blaster, but I wouldn't chrono mag it. Okay, he showed me this also, a lot like the titanium system, which he showed me. This is a lot like the titanium system, only it's completely smoothly inside. Unlike the Mercury and all the others, the Jupiter is actually smoothly inside. He says it's very accurate blaster. And the other problem with magging it is that your mag would be way up here. You see where this ball is? Your mag would be right there. So imagine for a second, you got this mag right here. It's way in the front. This is what I mean. It's just all wrong for a sniper. And plus, with your your trigger being way back here, your magazine being way up here, and your release too, I don't think that's gonna work out very well for being like a Stefan sniper. But if you were to throw like 18 kilograms in here, and you know, use like the Worker 18K spring, or do what I did and take a spring and adapt it to fit in there, that's 2mm coil. That's a lot wider than a K26 and a lot thinner too. three eighths diameter, you could do that. Like you can see this right here. Like this is my setup on the Nerf EZE Chronomag. I have a My Venom adapter here. I have the 18.5K turf spring here, and it does great. I can do like 300 feet per second with it. Well, you can probably do the same thing here. It probably is not that different, except for the fact that you have this prime rod around here. But I think, you know what? I think if you were to put that adapter there, and as long as it cleared those two poles, yeah, I think you'd be all right. But you want to check first, of course. It looks sturdy. You have a stop here, not just a screw, so it's held in by two stops there. Nice. And this has a nice, big, long magazine, which I'm almost thinking you can make longer. What do I mean by that? Maybe make this go down here, and down here. Imagine modifying one of these so it kind of snakes like that. Yeah, this little curve here and here. You could probably do it. It would probably look really cool. And you could probably hold like 20 rounds, 30 rounds, or even better. Like put like a blower system on this. Oh, okay, maybe not blower system. It's not flywheel, but nonetheless, you can probably take a couple of these springs and put it down there, and it will look really cool. But something like a Chronomag, I don't think so. But you gotta put in mind, I mean, you can get a Chronos to shoot 160, 170 feet per second. And the fact that this is becoming much more generic of a setup really does, in my opinion, standardize things. You know, it standardizes the setup. Even with flywheel blasters that Hasbro makes, there's different cages and different motors you have to use. Or you have to use different cages. Like, for example, Rapid Red's a Desolator cage. There's a different cage for the Modulus up there, you know. And then you have the different cages of the Strife, what have you. Yeah. So the thing is, like, this is nice because it is like one system. And we all know that if a K26 works in here, or if you really, really are good with working with it, an 18.5 turf with a custom rest, then you know it's going to work on the other ones because the cat geometry and everything is going to be the same. So this is really, really cool. And although it has too many screws and a few other things, I'm really glad to see that. Also the Heracles, which Dwayne Hoyt also gave me pictures of. Same thing, same kind of geometry there. Same thing. Oh, also, just make sure you have stops up front here so you're not breaking this peg, that peg. So the whole tube's not going too forward. Yeah, and you'll be alright. So let's see if we can mod maybe a Jupiter or a Heracles or a Mercury in the near future. I'm hoping so. But for right now, they're not in my stores yet, and I haven't seen them. So, alright. So this was Season 2, Episode 26 of Nerf News from Owl Ratch. I'm really hoping that the Dark Zone Pro, I hope that goes down in price. That would be really good if it went down in price, because that was kind of a shocker, especially since I had heard from their own representatives that it was going to be $50, and it went to $179. But, you know, what can you expect? You get what you pay for, right? I mean, really. And it does come with a lot of darts and everything else. And it is in a limited edition of 1,000. That's cool. I'm always hoping for something that goes a little more mainstream. You know, I'm always hoping for something that's a little bit more, you know, I'm thinking that, but like $80 or $100, or maybe cheaper. You know, we all know that Jet missed the boat with the CETA, and we'll have to see how does Dark Zone do with this. How do they go? Of course, this is a big news. It's the Dark Zone Pro, but it ain't nothing new. I mean, we got the Prophecy, we got XPT Retaliators. Okay, and personally, I don't even like the Retaliator format. I'll be honest with you. I like, of course, Mauser Fire format. It's smaller. It's easy to point at. It's a few FPS. Well, actually, this would be about up there with a Dark Zone Pro, 170, 185. Yeah, it would be about there. It would be about right up there with a Dark Zone Pro. So, I think for the size and everything. So, really, I don't need a Dark Zone Pro, you know. I'm really sorry to recap. I'm really sorry that I can't front, you know, shipping these to like Australia or Singapore or whatever. It's just too much money. I don't have that much money to bankroll. But, you know, if it was like $50, $60, I'd go for it. But unfortunately, yeah. So, at any rate, I hope you have a good night. Don't you go changing, or I'll find you.
having the best day ever.
I don't care!
Hotel by Wyndham.